welcome to the C-Suite. This is Tara Doyle Enneking, the President and CEO of the Puyallup Sumner Chamber of Commerce. Boy, we're on a roll. We've had a couple of Wonder Women, if you will go with that phrase here with me for a moment, all honoring Women's History Month. Today is somebody that has, I would say, just the right amount of grit and poise. And you'll see what I mean once you meet her. This is Barb Patterson. She and her husband Bruce have owned Windmill Bistro for 13 years. It is an absolute gem in Sumner, fairly iconic, I would say, as is she. So without further ado, let's bring Barb Patterson on. All right, Barb, come on down. What music do we have? Oh, I like it. Here she comes.
Always good. Shania Twain. Here we go.
We like our country. We could just dance.
That works.
Well, hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
More wonderful women here for the month of March, honoring Women's History Month.
That's awesome. I love that.
Wonderful. Well, hey, I was so excited to have met you in person now, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I think just about that.
And I love it because it was definitely one of those, instant synergy and such a beautiful space you've created there. But I really appreciate that you sort of trusted and leaned into a chamber when you're a very busy woman.
Yes.
And you have to really try to make time to
Very
be
much.
able to, attend all that we have going on. So you have, I love your support and appreciate you showing up for the chamber. And I hope we're showing up for you.
Definitely. This chamber has so many amazing opportunities. I wish I could do more, but, as time goes on, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Okay, so I said poise and grit. That's the woman I believe you've grown into. It's what I see when I meet you and hear your story. What would you say your mother and father would have described you as a child?
Oh.
Poise and grit or?
No, probably not. Very stubborn and opinionated, probably.
Oh, boy.
I'm a Taurus,
Okay.
so that is kind of a characteristic, I guess, that I hold true to that. I'm pretty self-confident usually and pretty stubborn in my
Okay.
ways if I believe in something. But with age, you do, you grow a bit and you can acquiesce to others.
Yeah, well, and I've just learned that you met your husband when you were 14, in Minnesota?
No, even younger.
Oh, younger than that.
We actually met in first grade.
Oh, my goodness.
We grew up a block apart from each other.
Okay.
And so we had our very first kiss together at 10 years old.
Oh,
yes,
I love it.
Playing truth or
I
dare
love
in the alley. Then I moved out here when I was 14. So
Okay.
it's been many years until we got back together. But yeah.
Oh, so there was a gap.
There was a gap. Yeah, there's a much longer version to that story. But
we like this one.
yeah, we didn't talk to each other for about 26 years.
Okay.
And then we found each other on Facebook.
Oh, I
So,
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And so he would have known you as a child. Would he
Yes.
have said you're stubborn and
Yes.
all the things?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I really was. I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
So, and kind of had to take on that parenting role somewhat,
Okay.
So I just, not just that it's stubborn, but it's a little bit like you take control.
Oldest child.
Yeah, for sure. Oldest child.
Order.
syndrome. Yeah.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah.
My sister's always slapping me for talking for her, finishing her
Oh,
sentences.
you're the
and
oldest.
I'm the oldest.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
So grew up in Minnesota.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your parents.
Well, my mom and dad actually divorced when we lived in Minnesota.
Okay.
My dad moved out here and was living with his family, and then my mom and dad tried to get back together again, and she moved all of us out here.
Okay.
So I was 14 when we moved here.
Okay.
Needless to say, that didn't work out.
Oh, wow.
So, single mom, raised three of us, and did a fantastic job, and we've been here ever since.
Again, I'm sure there's some of that strength that has obviously through osmosis got poured into you.
For sure. She was a very strong woman, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What did they do for a living, or what's the kind of career culture that you grew up around?
So my mom worked in basically human resources.
Okay.
She worked for the city. She worked for when we lived here, she worked for a huge, what would you call it, like a grocery wholesale place.
Sure.
Yeah. So she did that. My dad had some issues, and so he didn't really hold jobs too well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
there are those chapters in many of our lives.
Exactly. Yes.
But again, what little pieces, nuggets do we learn from all of that as well?
Yeah. Not to do that.
Yeah, not to do some of those things. I get it. What was your first job?
My first job was actually working for Swenson's Ice Cream Factory in Federal Way. I loved that job. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like it was in California.
Yeah,
back then,
I grew up in California. Is that the zoo where they run around?
No, it's just it's an ice cream place. Like we make our own ice cream. Yes. Yeah. We made our own ice cream, and then we had like a full soda fountain.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it was like an old time looking ice cream place. Yeah. And I just loved it. I mean, I love ice cream anyway, but it was like such a fun job. I worked there for 5 years.
Oh, wonderful.
My first job was for 5 years.
Okay, so a little bit of hospitality and food.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got married young, and I had children young.
Yep.
And so
those plans were derailed in a different way.
Yeah.
Detoured. Mm-hmm. Okay, so from Swenson's on to what did we do next?
Let's see. That
sounds like you're definitely a mom somewhere in there.
Yeah. So because that was till I was 21, and I got married when I was 21.
Okay.
And so then I went into being mom, and then after that I was fortunate enough to basically stay home for 12 years and have like part-time jobs, you know, or having my own business, you know, like home party things or different things like that. So just lots of different little things until I went back into the restaurant business. When my youngest went into kindergarten, I went to work for Red Lobster.
Oh, yeah.
And then I worked there for like 8 years or more. So, yeah.
So you stick it out.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't, it's funny. I don't mind change, but I don't like that kind of change.
Sure.
Like changing jobs all the time or something. Oh, no.
Not for you.
No.
Good bosses, bad bosses along the way. Is there anything that kind of stands out to you in the way of being impactful or influential?
Yeah. I mean, my first job, I would say that it was a family-owned business. Mm-hmm. The wife was great. I would say the husband had some I like anger issues, you know, so it wasn't always fun. But as a kid, I wasn't so unaware of that.
Right.
So I could deal with that. But I would say my best boss was when I went into real estate. Mm-hmm. And I worked for Keller Williams. And can I name drop a person?
You can name drop, absolutely.
So Pam Ranch, her and her husband are the owners of the branch that I worked at in Federal Way. And she was the biggest impact on my life for my career as far as personal growth, coaching, just giving me opportunities. I coached while I was there.
Yeah, you coached. What did you coach?
Realtors.
Other realtors. I was thinking sports.
I started
kickball.
I started as a realtor, and then after a few years and stuff, I went into coaching the new realtors.
Oh, wonderful. So are they related to Chris Ranch?
Yep, they're his mom and dad.
I love Chris Ranch. So that says a million things right there.
Yes.
Oh, yes. He's good friends with my stepdaughter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have millions of wonderful things to say about him.
Just incredible people. So,
good.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that is a great mentoring sort of way to tee you up into kind of that next part. So when you were coaching, what kinds of things, was this more of an organic way that you were just learning worked well, or were you actually leaning into different education or courses?
Through Keller Williams, they're the number one coaching real estate company in the world. Mm-hmm. And so just from those courses that I went to, tons of that. And so I would say it was geared more towards their style of coaching.
Sure.
How they do it within their organization. But Pam is just huge about reading. Mm-hmm. And so we just did tons of reading, like with Fierce Conversations, which is a really difficult way of doing things. But
tell us a little bit about that. Is that difficult conversations or straightforward kind of, okay. Well,
and she would have those with me. In fact, a funny story, when I decided to leave real estate and do the restaurant, we had a fierce conversation because that was comfortable for me to go back to a restaurant. And so it still to this day, I just remember it, and as I go through struggles now with having a restaurant, I'm like, okay, I remember some of those things.
Yeah.
But it's just like digging deep, when somebody says something. I've used it with my kids, just trying to get them
a little
to
bit
give
more.
me more.
That next layer.
Yeah.
What's your, what's the why behind that, and what else have you tried?
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you considered this?
Yeah. Or if you didn't have to worry about, whatever it is, what would you do if
money wasn't an object, or
all those
these
things.
barriers? Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's just, a lot of Keller Williams type training, but I've taken it, into what I'm doing now. And I would say also working at Red Lobster was actually the best hospitality training I've ever had. I
would think so. It seems kind of high and tight, and probably has, across the country, some sort of uniformity.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I like that. I mean, you have to have systems in place to do things. And so that's where I learned that part of it. And so I can carry that on and still use that today.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So, okay, you left real estate to open Windmill Bistro. Is that next chapter? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing both for a little while.
Okay.
That does not work.
Yeah.
They're both 24/7 jobs, kind of, yeah. So, my husband, because this is a second marriage for both of us, when he moved up here from Phoenix, and we were given the opportunity to own the bistro, I asked him, do you want to do real estate with me, or would you like to do a restaurant?
Oh.
And that is all he's ever done.
Okay.
He's only worked in restaurants since he was 15. So we took over the restaurant.
Nice. Yeah. What restaurant did he, chains or family or?
He worked at, growing up in Minnesota, he worked at a family, like a burger place to start with. I forget what it was called, but chili dogs were kind of a big thing, and charbroiled burgers. But then he lived in Arizona for 20 some odd years, and so he worked at a lot of high-end resorts down there.
Sure.
And that's kind of where he came up through the ranks, I would say.
Yeah, you have some decadent dishes for sure. Would that be Bruce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So Windmill Bistro was in existence, so that was a business you were able to buy. What changed when you came in versus what was there?
I would say a little bit the quality of the food that we were putting out, and the fact that we were owner-operators. It wasn't an owner-operated.
Okay. Was it more
restaurant.
of a cafe, too, before?
It was. I mean, it was really lunch.
Okay.
I can't even remember I don't even remember if they had started to try to do breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been so many years now. But that's really our biggest change up until our new renovation was the breakfast and how that just grew so huge. So
what else? What are some of the other changes? Because I think I did notice a change.
Yes.
During COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all had changes during COVID.
We all changed during COVID.
So we did a full renovation in 2022. We were closed for 6 months, and we added a bar. We always had a patio outside, but we now have a covered patio, which is really nice. Yeah.
That's a game changer.
So having the covered patio, having the bar, and then now we do dinner. So those are the biggest changes.
Are you open 7 days a week?
We are open 6 days, and we do dinner 5 nights a week. So we have lunch Tuesday through Friday.
Okay.
Dinner Tuesday through Saturday, and Saturday and Sunday we do a breakfast lunch all day. You can order either. So
I'm just realizing, how did I not put my order in with the salmon salad before you came over here?
Right? I know.
Darn it.
Yes.
That's a favorite.
You might only get that for a little bit longer, too, because new menus will be coming out.
Okay. Well, tell us about some of the favorite dishes, so we can tantalize our audience.
Yes. Well, breakfast really is the most popular. So Eggs Benedict is probably by far. I mean, we do 3 different kinds, and we usually try to change those up when we change menus. But I would say at dinner, I love our short rib. Love that. Fish and chips is super popular. But I'm the kind of person, when I'm going to go out to dinner, I want to get something I'm not going to get everywhere else.
Right.
And so that's what we try to do on our menu, is have items, especially at dinner, that are just something we don't want to be like a burger place, because you can go get burgers places. We want to be something that is it's kind of like a special occasion when you go out. Yeah. So I feel that way. Yeah. We have great salmon dishes, halibut. We have a fantastic pork chop right now, but Bruce is working on the new menu, which will probably come out in the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
Nice. Well, you've added some music night components too, which again adds to the date night flair.
Yes. And we're in the midst of booking all those now. So we do those on Wednesdays. And so as soon as we kind of get our lineup in gear, we'll put that out. But it's nice to have it in the summer because we do have that patio and that outdoor area. And I actually just talked to someone today about building a little bit of a stage out there.
Oh, good.
So that would be nice. Yeah. So I think it would bring in more people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're kind of evolving with what's out there, trying new stuff.
Yeah.
I believe you have family working there as well.
Yeah. 2 of my kids, my 2 youngest, work for us, and they're both bartender/servers.
Okay.
So, yeah. So.
That's the other thing. I feel like some crafted cocktails and signature cocktails have been something else you've been dabbling in.
Yeah. My daughter did all the ones to begin with, like when we reopened. She was the bar manager. Then she had a baby in September of last year. So she's just kind of coming back in. But fortunately, my son stepped in while she was gone, and then he did the new menu for the new craft cocktails. And an interesting little fact about that is he doesn't drink.
Oh, yeah. Bless his heart.
And he makes all these cocktails, and then he's like, can you try this? Can you try it? But he did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
I think so. No, they're great. Yeah. I've met both of them. What would you say with your business has been one of the greater challenges? I know it feels and seems like all roses.
Right.
It's beautiful. Everyone's happy.
Right.
It's great food, great customers, but I know on the backside of the kitchen and where you're at managing and again, needing to still think about growing and scaling, what are the types of challenges that you faced?
So mostly all the challenges have come from COVID forward and doing the renovation.
Yep.
Adding dinner and adding a full bar and trying to grow that business has been a challenge. And so it's kind of where my focus is all the time, trying to figure out what can we do. But I would say a bigger challenge for me has always been social media.
Well, we have a class for you tomorrow.
I know, right?
I hope you're sending someone, or I hope you're coming.
I was actually just asking one of the gals about it.
That's going to be a good one.
It's hard because I can't wear all those hats, you know, so finding the people who can help me do that and grow it and get the word out there. And I had an interesting comment from a regular guest of mine who, when he was asking how things were, because everybody comes in and tells me how great it is and they're so proud of us and yada yada yada, and I'm like, I was honest and I told him the struggles with dinner, and he was like, that's funny, I don't even think of you as a dinner place. And I was like, okay, now we have a problem. So, so that's the challenge. We're known for lunch and brunch.
Right.
And so we are trying to grow that dinner business.
Right.
And we know people want it. There's not a lot in Sumner.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's just, that's really been our biggest challenge. Obviously, staffing has been hard since COVID. But I feel like we have a great team there right now. So it's just being able to build upon that.
And you said, 10 to 16 employees, depending on seasonally.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
I love interior design.
Yes.
So if I wasn't doing this, I would 100% be doing that. In fact, during COVID, we didn't know if we were going to be doing this renovation and stuff. And I was actually pursuing classes for interior design because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yep.
So I love that. We love camping and traveling and my family. I have 3 grandchildren, so I love to spend time with all of them and do things with them.
Yeah. So. What would you tell the 20-year-old Barb what you know now?
Yeah.
Just as a little lesson along the way, or a little insight that would have been helpful to know back then.
Right. I think, obviously, hindsight being 20/20, you wish you could tell yourself all the things that you know are going to come in front of you, so you could be prepared for them. But outside of that, I think the thing I struggled with the most is understanding that being vulnerable and asking for help is a strength as opposed to a weakness.
Sure.
Because growing up in a family as the oldest and in a dysfunctional family, I felt I had to take everything on.
Right.
And so it's hard for me. And I would say only since my years at Keller Williams have I been growing into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still I check myself a lot and be like, you got to find people that can do stuff. You can't do everything.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that because when you were saying you got to do everything and you know, myself with the background in running a small business as well, and you felt like really it's a lot of energy to explain everything. It's a lot of energy to share, you know, your vision. So you just do it all.
Right.
and I kind of struggled coming here because, again, I'm charged with, you know, rebuilding a chamber.
Yes.
And getting a blank slate was a blessing. But because that blank slate, everything became my baby.
Right.
And so as we got to be fortunate enough to grow our staff, it was really hard for me to let go of stuff.
Yes.
And only until I added school to my schedule did I naturally have to pull back. And guess what? You realize, wow, I got some super... Yeah,
do it.
Well, and how great is it now? Because now I'm developing other leaders.
Right.
Because they're growing and they're having to figure stuff out. And honestly, they're 10 times out of, you know, 11.
Yeah.
Their ideas are better.
Yeah.
And so that's
well,
when
especially a new generation.
Yeah.
You know, like,
we've got them all here.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I've got my nearly 80-year-old and my 20-year-old. We've got it all.
But you get that, like, you get stuck in what you know.
Yes.
And then it's like, at first I'm like, I don't want to do the things they're saying. I'm like, what do you know? You know, like that in your head, you're like, oh, this is just frivolous. We're not doing that, you know. But no, they have some great ideas and they know what's out there and what's happening. They're much more aware of it than me being stuck doing all my things that I'm trying to do. So,
would you say that's kind of the chapter you might be at now, is looking at how do you start to just have oversight and not all the hands-on management every day?
For sure. Our goal when we did this renovation was obviously that this is a legacy business for us and that we can pass on to our kids.
Right.
You know, now with my two youngest working for us, that was originally the idea, oh, maybe they'll want to take it over or whatever. You know, my daughter having a daughter now, I mean, she has other priorities right now, but I'm kind of working with both of them all the time on seeing where their interests lie and do they want to do this? Do they want to kind of take over some of this? Because we would like to keep it in the family.
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Sure. How would your kids describe you as a mom?
I you know, wow, that's really there's a lot there to unpack. We've had some real challenges in our family in the last few years, and my kids would say I'm the strength of the family for sure. And my youngest has sent me some of the sweetest messages by text or even like in a card or something. Just I'm their person, you know. They come to me and I talk to them every single day and they're at my house all the time, and I think I'm their soft and hard landing place. Like, you know, they just know it's okay. And I think that's how they would probably describe me. I think I'm pretty much their best friends, but at the same time we're still parent.
Yeah, you're going to challenge. Well, hey, how fortuitous that I started off saying grit and poise, because it is that balance of you have the strength, but I could see you having that empathy and kindness.
Thank you.
And support of your kids. How about your staff? Do they see that same person?
They think I'm kind of tough. But, you know, because of the training I learned in Keller Williams and just trying to understand my staff when I hire them, and because I hire a lot of kids, one of the questions I always ask the people that I'm interviewing is, you know, how do you like to be communicated with? Because I'm a very direct person.
Right. That's a smart question to ask.
Yeah. So, and it's funny that they almost all will tell you that, you know, just give it to me straight. Tell me how it is. I want to learn, and so I can grow and change and do better and all that. But there have been several instances where that's not really the case. And then if somebody leaves, I've been told that I'm too difficult or whatever. So, you know, I mean, I am what I am. And I mean, I think it's best to be direct. I mean, I certainly have empathy for people. I'm not going to beat you down or anything. But a restaurant is a fast-paced business.
And, quick decisions and moving quick and keep up.
Yeah.
Get out.
So I think they think that I'm kind of tough sometimes. But I also, we are a family, and my staff does feel that. In fact, I just hired a gal yesterday, and she did a little post last night, after her first day. And we know mutual people. And one of my former employees, who is one of my best friends, put on there, the bistro is the best work family ever.
Oh,
I was like,
great
okay,
culture.
love that.
Oh.
So, it's important to me.
Very nice.
Thanks.
And you won an award, or were nominated for an award for Champions of Commerce this year?
We did. Yeah, we were nominated for 2 different ones.
Oh, wonderful.
For Best Drinking Spot and what was the Heroes in Hospitality? Is that what that was called?
Yeah.
For the community type.
Yeah, I love that. And that makes a lot of sense, because I think you're greeted by 3 people when you get there, and the food itself is comforting. The environment is so comforting.
I felt that was a really apropos place for us to be nominated in, because there's a sign right when you walk in our restaurant that says, come as guests, leave as family.
Yeah.
And that's what we think.
If you're living that, you're
Yeah.
saying it and living it.
We take the time to know people. You know, you can't know everybody right away, but if you come in more than once and kind of on a regular basis, we're going to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, in 10 years?
I mean, I could say 5. You could
I'm like, I'm kind of old, Tara. Come on. But in 5 years, I really do hope that I'm more on the retired side of it.
Yeah.
And that I'm doing more traveling and that kind of thing. And
Will you dabble in interior design?
I was just going to say, I would like to do some of that.
Start with our space here.
I would love, before COVID happened, I would have loved to do flipping of houses like that. I love that idea. Not so much the market for it right now, but that's still something I would love to do. And I enjoy that. I find it relaxing and energizing.
I agree. Well,
So,
I hope that comes to you sooner than the 10 years, for sure.
Me too.
Well, I'll kind of end on a note where, is there any kind of mantra or saying or something that you feel you've either, tell yourself it's something you live out, or that you share with your kids or staff?
Well, one thing I share with my kids and my staff, I mean, a lot of things are work related. So, but, it's like, never say something about someone that you wouldn't just say to their face. Like, that's a big deal to me, and especially in a restaurant culture, there's a lot of drama at times.
Sure.
And also just, taking responsibility for your own actions and your own words, because instead of them coming to me, I'm like, for the most part, you're all pretty much adults. You need to be able to talk to each other. You need to be able to figure out your, issues, problems, communicate with each other. So that's kind of my thing. It's just trying to be more empowering of people to be like, you can do this. You can rise to the occasion. You can think about what you're going to say before you say it. Yes. But they're important, and I think especially today. Yeah, I think it's really important.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense when we get back to the directness, the honesty, all that makes sense, and the strength part.
Thanks.
Well, I have a blue scarf here because we made you a blue scarf member recently.
Thank you.
We're excited for you to participate. I'm really excited too. I shared with you right before we started that we've got you paired with Krista Linden and the mentor-mentoree kind of relationship, and I think you ladies will learn a lot from one another. And I think that she has absolutely mastered that visionary oversight and like, how do I just keep growing the vision without the day-to-day? And I know in a small business it's challenging, so that's going to be a fun way for you to kind of explore how that all came to be.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. She's going to be a great mentor.
Oh, heck yeah. So good. Yes. All right. Well, Barb, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here for Women's History Month. I think we're just learning that the women in our community are just Wonder Women.
I agree.
Fantastic. All right. Stay tuned for another one. We got them lined up the rest of the month.
Thank you.
Take care.